Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Geek Out Room podcast. Don't forget you can watch our episodes over on the Sauceless Entertainment YouTube channel, and you can listen to our episodes over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just type in Geek Out Room podcast in the search engine, and you should find us. Today, we're reviewing Dispatch, the video game. So, this is a spoiler review for the game. I will be talking about what I like, what I didn't like, and some of my choices. So if you have not played the game or you don't want anything spoiled for you, please pause this, go play the game. It's a phenomenal game. Come back, join us. Let's do it. So let's start with the things I liked, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff I liked about this game. One thing is this game had adult themes and they stuck with it. They didn't pull any punches. They made it feel like how similar to The Wolf Among Us, where even The Wolf Among Us, but like The Walking Dead, really, actually, where they dealt with a lot of adult theme topics throughout the series. And it felt like adults talking, like the dialogue, the choices, the topics, okay, the consequences to your choices. Like it all felt like how adults would act. And I know that sounds like a no brainer, but you'd be surprised. Like some people say it's adult themed or this game is for adults or for mature audience, and they don't really lean into it or they kind of pull some punches. I feel like Dispatch didn't do that. Like I think they leaned into it. Great voice acting cast. Great voice acting cast. I thought everyone did a phenomenal job. I thought it was really engaging dialogue. I thought it was pretty good jokes. I think it was good comedic timing from some people. I thought Aaron Paul did a really solid job as Robert Robertson. And yeah, I just think it was a cast that was an odd casting choice for some people that you would think, but once you play the game, by the end of the first episode, you realize why everybody is who they are picked wise. So I enjoyed it. Or really the second episode. I forgot when they all get introduced. I forgot it was the first or second, but by episode 2, you understand. Next, I would say Invisigal was a really interesting character. I thought that Blonde Blazer would be the most interesting character, but or at least Blonde Blazer will overshadow a lot of the other characters. And I think that Invisigal held her own against Blonde Blazer. And I think they did a pretty good job of making her pretty interesting and pretty fun to have in the story and interact with your choices, regardless of whether you decide to pursue romance with her or not. I think they did a pretty good job with that, especially towards the end where based off your choices, she either turns into a villain or she turns into a hero. I think that is a really cool and solid way to have a choice based game like this and have these characters. Make your decisions matter. And if your decisions throughout this season matter so much that you can really alter someone's life, whether again she becomes a villain or she becomes a hero, is based on how you're treating her. And from what I seen, because obviously I've only did one run through and picked the choice I picked, but you don't have to pursue necessarily a relationship with Invisigal for her to turn to a hero, if I'm not mistaken. Like I think you can still pursue Blonde Blazer and still treat Invisigal correctly and have her become a hero. So that's also cool that you're not forced to have a relationship with her for her to become a hero or a villain. You know what I mean? Like you can still be romantic with her and she can still end up a villain. You can still be romantic with Blonde Blazer. She'll end up a villain or a hero. Like I think that's very interesting and I think that's a really good way to make sure your audience knows that the decisions they make actually matter in games like this. Blonde Blazer was awesome. Speaking of Blonde Blazer again, she was really sick. She was super awesome, and I thought the voice acting was good. I thought all her moments were badass and powerful, and yet, and also like for example, like the moment where she, even from day one, where she comes in, swoops in, and saves you, relocates your arm, or going to the part where she's there for you when you're down sometimes, especially what happened with Chase, and she's there for you, or moments in the last episode, or second to last episode, where, second to last episode, where she swoops into the dive bar to save you. Like, there's moments like that, or the final fight where she's just flying all around trying to help you, and you're 2v1ing either Sonar or Coop, depending on who you pick. There's so many really dope moments with Blonde Blazer. Like, Blonde Blazer actually is MVP of this series, to be honest with you. Like, really, really good. So that's why I'm really surprised that Invisigal, at least in my opinion, stood her ground enough to Blonde Blazer's character, but Blonde Blazer was the MVP of this series. Probably the best character. Chase was amazing. Chase was hilarious. He was funny. He adds so much heart and levity to the series. I mean, it's not like it was a super depressing drama like Zack Snyder type stuff, but Chase added really good comedic relief. He was the funniest by far. I can't imagine Dispatch without Chase in this series. So shout out to that. That's a really great character. Robert was a normal dude in crazy circumstances. He didn't have superpowers, and I thought Aaron Paul played the voice and the demeanor and the emotes really well throughout this game. I think that having a character be so normal but his surroundings not is a really good way to do a choice-based game like this, because your decisions matter even more, and you get to interact with superheroes or people with superpowers in such a different way than you had superpowers. So I definitely like that. Great romantic moments. Obviously, episode 4 with Visigal, or no, is it episode 4? I think it's episode 4 with the Visigal having her wet dream, and then kind of just basically thirsting after Robert for the entire episode. Like, that was funny. That was hot. That was cool. Great way to start episode. I mean, especially for people who didn't really know what they were getting into with the game itself. Like, I went into the game blind. I just remember seeing it at the Game Awards, and then that's it. Didn't hear anything about it. Forgot it was even out. One of my friends told me about it, and that's why I decided to buy it and play it for the channel. So just kind of like not knowing what you're getting into, and realizing again they're really leaning into the adult themed context. Like, I don't need straight up sex scenes or anything like that to make this game great, or to make other games great, But like, if you're going to have an adult themed game or movie, like, then actually use it. If you're going to have a rated M, or I don't even know if this game was rated M, but I'm assuming it is because there's a lot of nudity in this thing and cussing and stuff. So if you're going to make it a rating where it's for a mature audience, and that's really the only people who can play it or view it, then you need to have actual mature content that those people would enjoy and like. And I do think they did a good job, like I said again. And gutsy call using dispatching as the action. Like, obviously there's action sequences and quick time events, but for the majority of the game, you're obviously a dispatcher. So to do that, not everyone would have thought that would be fun. Not everyone would have probably liked those missions, but I think it's a great way to kind of see the personality of your team without using all these cutscenes, or at least a good addition using the cutscenes, and you get to see a lot of the personality through how you send them, how they work together, their smart little remarks and dialogue back and forth. Like, it's a really gutsy call, and I think it's one that paid out for them really well. So those are the things I liked. Let's talk about the stuff I didn't like. There's not really much. It's like 3 things. One is, I wish there was more intimate scenes with Blonde Blazer and a Visigal, because I feel like, and I'm not talking about like having sex or nothing like that, but which, hell, I mean, I guess you could include that in there, but really what I mean is, like, I feel like for Blonde Blazer, if I'm not mistaken, like, the only intimate moments I feel like were so like sparse. Like, it just didn't feel like there was a lot more context. And yeah, there's the wet dream didn't help the case, but like, I felt like there was a lot more moments with Invisigal that felt more intimate, that felt more, I'm having a crush on her and she's crushing on me, and that kind of situation, compared to Blonde Blazer, where, yeah, there was a dress scene, the nip slip scene. There was obviously on top of the sign when she tried to recruit Robert, and obviously like when Chase was in the hospital and she like kissed his hand, or when the party was happening in Robert's apartment and she kissed him goodbye. Like there's those little moments which are nice, but I feel like if Vizagal had way more, like, it's almost like you know what it is. For me, it felt like you were meant to pick a Vizagal instead of having true two options. To me, again, that's just how when I played it, how I viewed it. I only played one run through, so on other run throughs maybe it'll be different. Who knows? But yeah, I wish there was a little more. Even with Visiga, I wish there was more intimate scenes, which is going to get me to my second point. That kind of ties into this as well. Is that I wish there was an episode dedicated just to them going on a date with whoever you chose. To be honest with you, yeah, you at the end of the episode, was it three, four, I think. Whereas like, your choice either go on a date with Blonde Blazer or you go on a date with Invisigal. You know what I mean? So there's that, right? Which is cool, but like I need a whole episode, or at least I would have liked a whole episode dedicated to just like you're going on a date with whoever you chose, like a second day, I guess, whoever you chose, and the episode could have been, you getting to know this character, you know what I mean? Because yeah, there's scenes where you get to know Blonde Blazer a little bit, get to know Invisigal a little bit, but I think an episode dedicated to just Robert's character getting to know one of these girls in a way where he is romantically interested in them would have been interesting. And it could be an episode where it's like the date didn't go as planned, like they kept on having to save the day, or Blonde Blazer had to save the day, or this guy had to save the day. He had to like dispatch in real life instead of behind a screen or something. That would have been interesting. It would have been an interesting dynamic to have a date while still incorporating his dispatch job. It would have been interesting. So there's definitely different ways to go about it and different ways to do things. So I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. It just would have been interesting to see that. So that's why I hope that we get that if there's a season 2. I hope we do get moments where we can enjoy the way they did it. I think it's not that bad, but I think they could have a dedicated episode to that. So I think the last thing really is just to get to know the other characters more. I think, again, there's only so many episodes. There's only so much you can fit into all these things. I get it. I'm not tripping, but I just feel in the episode where they're all at the bar and they have a bar fight together, like that's a really great episode. It's probably one of my favorites, and I'm not mad at it. But it would have been nice. Like if there's, I feel like this could have been 10 episodes. I think it was only 8. This thing could have been 10, 12 episodes. I think it could have been 10, 12 episodes. And you could have fit in the episode about Blonde Blazer, or the date episode, or not, or you could have done that, and you could have done an episode where Robert did a team bonding exercise maybe with his team, and they went to go, I don't know, they went to go do some menial task, and it just went really wrong, and that was the moment that also helped build chemistry moments. But I guess that would have been redundant a little bit towards the bar fight episode, because it still had the team bonding effect, right? So like it still ended the same way. So maybe that wouldn't have been an ideal episode, but like still just something where you can slowly get to know the team a little bit more outside just the dispatch. I think that would have been nice. I'm not saying you have to form love relationships with every single woman on the team, but like just stuff where like you just do activities with different members, or like maybe the members ask you to do, or your team asks you like do, like they each kind of hit you up and they ask you to go hang out with them or do something with them, and then you have to choose who you hang out with and who you don't. Like you have enough time for 3 members but not all the rest, or 2 members not the rest, like something like that. And that would have been interesting. That would have been a really interesting way to get to know some of the members on the team, and like just stuff like that, interesting stuff like that. But that's like more of a wish list than stuff I didn't like. I mean, the one thing I really, not that I really didn't like, but one thing that I felt like was lacking in this game was definitely, I think we really needed an episode that was a date episode. I think we just needed a date episode where Robert was getting to know Blonde Blazer or Invisigal, depending on which one you went out with. And yeah, I just think that would have been a necessary episode, because I feel like there was just a lack of intimacy with Blonde Blazer. I don't know, Blonde Blazer, it was just kind of weird, some of the interactions with Blonde Blazer a little bit. even if you decide to fully pursue her romantically, I feel like, for example, the dance scene where, if at least for me, 'cause I chose to dance with Visigal, and Visigal was my love interest, and so I danced with Visigal, and yeah, Visigal and Chase had this thing, so I understand why he was looking at her crazy. But if you dance with Blonde Blazer and you're romantically pursuing Blonde Blazer, Visigal looks sad, and like there's just like this little moment, like there's those little nuggets, but little moments that kind of go into her feelings for Robert, or at least for the whole situation. Where Blonde Blazer, I feel like it's like if you just go on a date with Invisigal instead of Blonde Blazer, like that's it. At least that's how I'm seeing it. Like at least from my playthrough, I feel like once I went to the movies with Invisigal, I had no chance to get to know Blonde Blazer at all. And even if it wasn't in a romantic sense, like I couldn't even really get to know her as a friend or coworker. Really, like it's like all paths were kind of shut off. You know what I mean? It was super. It was very interesting, and I feel like when you romantically pursue Blonde Blazer, at least from one of because my friend pursued Blonde Blazer, he was telling me his experience and how that playthrough went, and I feel like based on that, like I just feel like even if you romantically pursue Blonde Blazer, I feel like there was a lot of intimacy moments lacking. Like I don't need a separate wet dream sequence for Blonde Blazer. That's not what I'm saying. But like, it would have been nice to see a date to really, again, if anything, that episode would have helped Blonde Blazer out more. I just feel like her character was kind of lacking when it came to the love interest with Robert, and I feel like they could have beefed that up a little bit more and made it more dynamic, if that makes sense. So, with that being said, that's my review for it. Again, I romantically decided to pursue Invisigal. I got Invisigal to be a hero, and I thought it was a really solid series. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I regret pursuing Invisigal. I think if I had to start over again, I would do Blonde Blazer, because something about Blonde Blazer by the end of the series, bro, she was just MVP. She was clutch, man. She was just clutch, and I feel like Blonde Blazer was a lot more of a straight shooter with you. And again, Invisigal had her issues and stuff she was dealing with, and identity issues. Like, so don't get me wrong. Like, I understand why Invisigal acted like that, but something about Blonde Blazer busting into that bar to save me, I was like, that did something. That woke something up within me. I was like, I made a wrong choice. I'm not gonna lie. I said, damn, I made the wrong choice, man. And she had some cold lines, and she was just clutch throughout this series. She did so much the final fight and throughout this series to really like, or season, to really like hang out and comfort Robert and really be a good friend, just a good human to him, and I could really appreciate that. And that nip slip moment was good too. Like there's great moments with Blonde Blazer, man. And yeah, I just wish, like, I really wish, and I think one of the weaknesses in the game, like I said, it's just that not romantically pursuing Blonde Blazer, I feel like cut her, like, it really lessened her character in ways it didn't really need to. Because you still get certain moments anyway, like her busting into the bar and all that stuff anyway. And the moment at the end where they're drinking the beer, all that, like, you get all that stuff anyway. But I just really feel like there was stuff missing with her character if you didn't romantically pursue her, and like you never got a shot. I feel like it's not like she asked you out on a date to go out to eat or whatever. So I felt like there should have been maybe at least a possibility to at least try to get to know her in a different way, or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass there, but either way, that's just stuff of my personal preference. This game is really solid. It's a solid like 9 out of 10 for me, dude. I need a season 2 because I think you could definitely do a season 2 of Dispatch, and it would make sense. And I think they have a really solid team, and I think if they correct some of the romance, I mean, because it wouldn't be a love triangle necessarily, probably, maybe, I don't know, but there would definitely be an interesting way to just like, hey, if you picked, like, just like how Telltale The Walking Dead was like, hey, if you picked Blonde Blazer, this is how you start season 2. If you pick to romantically pursue this gal, this is how you start season 2. If you fell for both of them, kind of that was an option. This is how you start season 2, and that would create a lot of work for them because that would create probably a lot of different splits in the choices and stuff. But it'd be interesting. So like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts on Dispatch season 1. Do you think they need a season 2? What would you like the story to be for season 2 if you can type that out? I'll see you on the next one. Keep geeking out. Peace.